Samantha Collins stood at the window of her small apartment, looking at the night sky. The stars seemed different now. Just 1 week ago, they were distant lights. Now they were places where other beings lived. She touched the badge on her uniform. It felt heavy with meaning. As a former Marine who spoke 4 languages, Samantha never expected to become the face of humanity to alien visitors. But life had strange plans. The aliens had arrived 7 days ago. Their massive ship appeared over New York without warning. People panicked at first. Some ran, others prayed. A few brave souls waited to see what would happen. What happened was simple. The aliens asked to speak with Earth's leaders. They called themselves the Galactic Confederation, a group of 7 advanced species who had watched Earth for decades. Samantha's phone rang, pulling her away from the window. It was General Harris. "Collins, we need you at the UN building in 1 hour," he said. His voice sounded tense. The aliens asked for a translator with military background. "You're our best option?" "Yes, sir," Samantha replied. Her heart beat faster. "Any advice?" There was a pause on the line. "Just listen carefully and remember you represent all of us." 90 minutes later, Samantha stood in a large room at the United Nations. Leaders from around the world sat at tables arranged in a circle. In the center stood 3 aliens. The tallest one looked like a bird that walked on 2 legs. He had bright blue feathers and a sharp beak. The second alien reminded Samantha of a giant tree frog with 6 fingers on each hand. The third was covered in gray scales and had 4 eyes that moved in different directions. The bird-like alien stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Zixtel of the Krell," he said. His voice came through a small device that hung around his neck. "We welcome Earth to the knowledge of the wider galaxy." Samantha translated his words into the 5 main Earth languages, one after another. The world leaders nodded and murmured. "We have observed your planet for many cycles," the ambassador continued. "You have reached a point in your development where contact is permitted. We offer Earth membership in our confederation." This announcement caused excited whispers around the room. Samantha waited for them to quiet before she translated. Again, the frog-like alien spoke next. "However, your species is still developing. You will be given observer status only. You may learn from us, but you will not have voting rights or military participation until you prove yourselves worthy." As Samantha translated these words, she noticed the tone in the room change. The excitement became unease. President Lavra Wilson of the United States leaned forward. "Ambassador, we appreciate your offer," she said. "But Earth has much to contribute. We would like full membership status." When Samantha translated this request, Ambassador Zixtal made a sound like bells tinkling. It took Samantha a moment to realize he was laughing. "Your species lacks the physical and mental capacity to contribute meaningfully to Confederation operations," he stated. His feathered crest rose slightly. "We are merely offering you protection and guidance as we would any primitive species." Samantha hesitated before translating. These words would upset the Earth leaders, but her job was to communicate honestly. She repeated his words exactly. The room grew very quiet. Then President Wilson stood up slowly. "Ambassador, while we appreciate your offer, we must insist on respect in these discussions. Earth may be new to interstellar relations, but we are not primitive." The ambassador's 4-eyed companion spoke for the first time. "To demonstrate good faith, we will offer one concession. Earth may send a single candidate to our elite training program. If this human succeeds, we will reconsider your status." His tone made it clear that he expected no such success. Samantha felt her face grow warm as she translated. The aliens were not even trying to hide their belief that humans were inferior. The meeting continued for 3 more hours. By the end, Earth had reluctantly accepted observer status in the Confederation. The aliens promised to return in 1 week for a formal ceremony and to collect Earth's training candidate. If one was selected. As the meeting ended, Samantha noticed that her phone had been recording the entire conversation. She hadn't meant to leave it on, but now she had a record of every dismissive comment the aliens had made. That night, after careful thought, she uploaded the recording to the internet. People deserve to know the truth. she whispered to herself as she pressed send. By morning, the recording had spread worldwide. People everywhere were angry about the aliens' attitude. But instead of causing panic, it created unity. Humans from different countries and backgrounds found common cause. If the aliens thought humans were weak, they would prove them wrong. 3 days later, Samantha's phone rang again. This time, it was the White House calling. "Miss Collins, the President requests your presence immediately," said a formal voice. 2 hours later, Samantha sat across from President Wilson in the Oval Office. Between them on the desk was a folder with "classified" stamped on it. "Your recording caused quite a stir," the President said. Her face was serious but not angry. "I'm sorry, Madam President. I felt people needed to know." President Wilson nodded slowly. "As it happens, I agree with you. The Confederation's attitude has united our planet in a way nothing else could have." She pushed the folder toward Samantha. "That's why I want you to be our candidate for their training program." Samantha stared at the folder. "Me? But there must be better choices. Olympic athletes, genius scientists." "What we need isn't just strength or intelligence," the President said. "We need someone who understands what's at stake. Someone who won't accept the limitations they try to place on humanity." She leaned forward. "The aliens expect us to fail. They see us as primitive, weak, incapable. I want you to show them how wrong they are." Samantha opened the folder. Inside was information about the training program. It would last 1 Earth year. The location was a space station orbiting a planet 12 light years away. The training would test physical, mental, and tactical abilities. No human had ever faced such challenges. "If I go, I might fail," Samantha said quietly. "You might," the President agreed. "But that's not what matters. What matters is that you try, that you show them humans don't give up easily." Samantha thought about the ambassador's dismissive laugh, about the way the aliens talked down to Earth's leaders, about all the humans throughout history who had overcome impossible odds. She closed the folder and looked up. "When do I leave?" President Wilson smiled for the first time. "The Confederation ship returns in 3 days. You'll have intensive briefings. Until then." As Samantha left the White House, she looked up at the sky again. The stars were no longer just places where aliens lived. They were places where she would go, where she would show the Confederation exactly what humans could do. "They think we're weak," she whispered to the distant stars. "Let's show them how wrong they are." The alien ship was enormous. Samantha felt tiny as she walked up the ramp with her single bag of belongings. Behind her, a small crowd had gathered to see her off. President Wilson had shaken her hand firmly. "Remember, you carry Earth's hopes with you," she had said. Now Samantha took one last look at the blue sky before entering the ship. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. "Human Samantha Collins, follow me," said a tall, thin alien with pale green skin. "I am Trell, your guide for this journey." The inside of the ship was strange. The walls seemed alive, with colors flowing through them like water. The air smelled like mint and metal. "How long will the trip take?" Samantha asked. 6 of your Earth months, Trell replied. "You will sleep most of the way in a special chamber." Trell led her to a small room with a pod in the center. "This is cryosleep technology. You will not age or feel hunger during the journey." Samantha nodded, trying to look calm even though her heart was racing. She had never left Earth before, and now she was about to sleep for 6 months while traveling 12 light years from home. "Are there other humans on board?" she asked. "One other has been selected from your planet. You will meet him when you arrive." Trell handed her a simple gray uniform. "Change into this. Then I will prepare you for cryosleep." 20 minutes later, Samantha lay in the pod, watching as the clear cover closed over her. A sweet smell filled the air, and her eyes grew heavy. "When you wake," Trell said, his voice already sounding distant, "you will be at the Confederation training facility." Samantha tried to reply, but sleep took her first. She woke to a gentle beeping sound. The pod cover slid open, and cool air touched her face. For a moment, she felt confused. Then memory rushed back. She was in space, far from Earth, and today she would begin training to prove humans deserved respect in the galaxy. Human Collins, you are awake. A new alien stood beside her pod. This one had blue scales and a long neck. I am Dr. Myra. Please sit up slowly. Samantha did as she was told. Her body felt strange, a little weak, but otherwise normal. How do you feel? Dr. Myra asked, scanning her with a small device. Hungry. Samantha admitted. The alien made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. Yes, that is normal after cryosleep. Food is available in the next room. Then you will join the other new trainees. After eating a meal of strange but tasty food, Samantha was led to a large window. What she saw took her breath away. The training facility was a massive ring spinning slowly in space. Behind it loomed a huge planet with swirling orange and yellow clouds. That is Station Zeta, her guide explained. And behind it is the gas giant Corlin. The station creates gravity by spinning. A small ship took Samantha from the transport vessel to the station. As she stepped through the airlock, she felt a wave of dizziness from the artificial gravity. You will adjust, said her new guide, a robot with a friendly voice. Follow me to the welcome center. The station was full of activity. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved through wide corridors. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange Samantha couldn't even guess which parts were heads or limbs. At the welcome center, a group of about 50 beings had gathered. Samantha scanned the crowd looking for another human face. She spotted him near the back. A tall man with dark skin and short black hair. He nodded at her, and she made her way over to him. You must be the other human, she said, extending her hand. I'm Samantha Collins. Joseph Reyes, he replied, shaking her hand firmly. Former Navy SEAL. Looks like we're Earth's only representatives here. Before they could talk more, a loud tone sounded. The crowd fell silent as a reptilian alien with black and green scales strode to the front of the room. I am Commander Norvac, the alien announced. His voice was deep and cold. You are the newest trainees for the Confederation Elite Force. Some of you will succeed. Many will fail. His eyes moved across the crowd, stopping briefly on Samantha and Joseph. The human species is joining our training for the first time, he said. They will likely wash out within the first cycle. Their species lacks proper evolutionary adaptations for space combat. Their endurance is subpar, their sensory systems rudimentary, and their cognitive processing speeds ... inadequate. Whispers and clicks of amusement rippled through the crowd. Some of the alien trainees turned to look at the humans with curiosity. Or mockery. Samantha stood straighter, meeting the commander's gaze. With respect, Commander, she said, her voice steady. Perhaps you should let my performance speak for itself. The room went silent. Commander Norvac's scales darkened to almost black. Performance requires capability, human, he said. You simply lack the biological foundations for success here. He turned away dismissively and continued explaining the training program. There would be physical trials, tactical simulations, academic studies, and combat training. The program would last one standard year, about 14 Earth months. After the briefing, the trainees were assigned to their living quarters. Samantha found herself in barracks J-17 with 3 alien roommates. I am Krill, said a blue, 6-limbed being who seemed to be female. She had no visible mouth, but colors rippled across her skin as she spoke. I come from an ocean world. I am Drex, said another. This one looked like a walking crystal with glowing red eyes. My people live inside volcanoes. The third alien was tall and insect-like, with delicate wings folded against its back. My name is Vel, it said in a musical voice. I am honored to meet the first human in our program. Samantha introduced herself, trying to remember all the cultural protocols she had been briefed on. Krill preferred no physical contact. Drex's species communicated partly through heat, so standing close was polite. Vel's people valued mathematical precision in all things. Later, as she unpacked her few belongings, Joseph stopped by her quarters. They've already calculated our failure probability to 3 decimal places, he said with a grim smile. But they missed something important in their equations. What's that? Samantha asked. Humans have been proving the odds wrong since we climbed down from the trees. He handed her a small device. This is a private communicator. We should stay in touch, compare notes. I think we're going to need to work together to survive here. That night, Samantha lay on her sleeping platform, looking out a small window at the stars. They were unfamiliar patterns now, seen from 12 light years away from Earth. First day of training tomorrow, Creel said from her water-filled sleeping pod. Are you nervous, human Samantha? Yes, Samantha admitted, but also determined. The commander was harsh but truthful, Creel said. No human has ever completed even the basic training. Your bodies are not made for this. Samantha turned to look at her alien roommate. There's an old saying on Earth, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. I do not understand this reference, Creel sighed, her skin pulsing with confused colors. Samantha smiled. You will, just watch me tomorrow. As she drifted off to sleep, Samantha thought about Commander Norvak's dismissive words, about President Wilson's faith in her, about Earth so far away now. They think we're weak, she whispered to herself. Time to show them what humans can really do. The first 3 weeks of training were harder than anything Samantha had ever faced. Each morning began with physical exercises in the station's high-gravity chamber. For many alien species, the increased gravity felt normal. For Samantha, it was like carrying a heavy backpack all the time. Faster, human! Commander Norvak would shout as she ran the obstacle course. Even the Grell Young can move quicker than you. Samantha kept her face blank and pushed harder. She would not give him the satisfaction of seeing her frustration. The afternoon sessions were for mental training. The trainees wore special helmets that tested their ability to process information quickly. Again, the humans struggled. The aliens could solve complex problems in seconds that took Samantha and Joseph minutes to understand. Every evening, Samantha checked the training board where all trainees were ranked. She and Joseph remained at the bottom, positions 49 and 50 out of 50 trainees. This isn't working, Joseph said one night as they met in the station's garden area. This room was filled with plants from different worlds and felt the most like Earth. We're playing their game by their rules? I know, Samantha agreed. They designed these tests for their own abilities. We need to find a way to show what humans can do well. They didn't have to wait long for their chance on the morning of their 4th week. Commander Norvak gathered all trainees in the main hall. Today begins the survival simulation, he announced. You will enter the wilderness deck in groups of 10. The challenge will last 12 hours. Your goal is simple: stay alive. The wilderness deck was the largest area of the station, a massive biodome that could create different environments. Today it was set to jungle mode. The jungle contains predator drones programmed to hunt you, the commander continued. They are not set to kill, but being caught will result in failure. The longer you survive, the higher your score. Samantha was placed in a group with 9 aliens, including Vel, her insect-like roommate. Joseph was assigned to a different group. When they entered the jungle, the heat and humidity hit Samantha immediately. The plants were strange, with purple and red leaves instead of green. The sounds were alien 2-clicks, hums, and low whistles instead of bird calls. We should split up, said a tall alien named Grex. Each find our own hiding place. The other aliens nodded and began to move away. Samantha watched them go. The flying aliens headed for the trees. The burrowing ones disappeared into the ground. The strongest ones looked ready to fight. Samantha stood alone, considering her options. She had no wings, couldn't burrow, and wasn't strong enough to fight the predator drones directly. But she had something else, human adaptability. She began to gather materials: strong vines, sharp stones, flexible branches. While the other trainees were hiding or preparing to run, Samantha was building. First, she made a simple knife by tying a sharp stone to a stick with vines. Then she cut more branches to make a small shelter hidden between two large tree roots. She covered it with leaves for camouflage. Next, she set traps around her shelter not to catch the drones, but to warn her of their approach. Vines strung with dry leaves would rattle if something passed by. From her shelter, Samantha watched as the first predator drone entered her area. It looked like a metal panther with glowing red eyes. It moved silently through the jungle, scanning for prey. One by one, her alien teammates were caught. The flying aliens were spotted from below. The burrowers were detected by heat sensors. The strong ones fought well, but eventually tired. When a drone approached Samantha's shelter, her warning system rattled. She stayed perfectly still, controlling her breathing as the drone sniffed around. The camouflage worked, the drone moved on. As hours passed, Samantha improved her position. She found a stream and set more traps. She created false trails to confuse the drones. She even managed to catch a small, frog-like creature for food using a pit trap. In another part of the jungle, Joseph was using similar tactics. He had found a group of mineral-based aliens who couldn't climb to safety when drones approached. Instead of leaving them behind, he organized them into a defensive formation and led them to a cave he had found earlier. "Stay in the back," he told them. "I'll keep watch." Using mud from the cave floor, Joseph covered himself to mask his body heat. He made weapons for each alien and taught them how to use them. Together, they held off 3 drone attacks. At the 12-hour mark, a loud tone sounded. The simulation was over. Of the 50 trainees, only 7 remained uncaught. Samantha and Joseph were among them. In the debriefing room, Dr. Elara Voss, the station's xenoanthropologist, watched the recording with growing interest. She was a tall, elegant alien with silver skin and all-white eyes. "Notice how they adapted," she said, to Commander Norvac. "While our species evolved specialized traits for specific threats, humans developed adaptability itself as their specialization." The commander's scales rippled with reluctant curiosity. One success in a controlled environment proves nothing. "Actually," Dr. Voss countered, bringing up data on her screen, "they've been improving at a rate 3 times faster than any other species. Their neural plasticity is remarkable. They're not just learning our techniques, they're integrating and improving them." She showed him more footage. The female Samantha created tools from nothing. The male Joseph formed a team with species he had never met before and developed tactics on the spot. For the first time, the commander looked at the human trainees with something other than dismissal. "Perhaps," he admitted, "we should reevaluate our assessment protocols." That evening, when Samantha checked the training board, she was surprised. She had moved up to position 23. Joseph was at position 25. Her roommates were surprised, too. "How did you survive without natural defenses?" Krill asked, her skin flashing curious patterns. "Humans have been surviving on Earth for thousands of years," Samantha explained. "We were never the strongest, fastest, or toughest species. We had to become the smartest and most adaptable. But the tests showed your cognitive abilities were slower than ours," Vel pointed out. "The tests measured how fast we process information," Samantha said. "They didn't measure creativity or problem-solving in new situations." Later, Joseph came to visit her quarters again. "They're starting to notice," he said with a small smile. "Today in tactical training, the commander actually asked for my opinion." "Mine too," Samantha said. "And did you see the rankings?" Joseph nodded. "Moving up. But we still have a long way to go to change their minds about humans." "We will," Samantha said firmly. "One day at a time." That night, as she prepared for sleep, Samantha's communicator beeped with a message. It was from Dr. Voss, the xenoanthropologist. "Human. Collins," the message read, "I would like to discuss your performance in the simulation. There may be aspects of human adaptability that could benefit our training program. Please meet me tomorrow after your regular sessions." Samantha smiled. It was a small step, but an important one. At least one alien was starting to see humans differently. Progress. she whispered to herself as she drifted off to sleep. Slow but steady progress. 4 months into training, things had changed for Samantha and Joseph. They were no longer at the bottom of the rankings. Through hard work and creative solutions, they had climbed to the middle of the pack. Some of the alien trainees had even started to seek them out as partners for team exercises. Dr. Voss, the xenoanthropologist, had become their strongest supporter. She often invited them to her lab to discuss Earth and human history. She was especially interested in how humans had survived without special abilities. Your species faced ice ages, massive predators, and natural disasters, she said during one meeting. Yet you not only survived, but thrived. How? We worked together, Joseph explained. And we never stopped trying new things. Fascinating, Doctor, Voss said, her silver skin glowing softly. Most species evolve specific traits to handle specific problems. Humans evolved general intelligence and cooperation instead. Even Commander Norvac had changed his approach. He no longer made dismissive comments about humans. Instead, he pushed Samantha and Joseph harder than ever. You have shown unexpected abilities, he told them after a particularly difficult training session. Now I want to see your limits. One morning, as all trainees gathered for their daily assignments, an emergency alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. The commander's voice came over the speakers. All advanced trainees report to the main hangar immediately. This is not a drill. Samantha and Joseph rushed to the hangar along with the other top 30 trainees. Commander Norvac was waiting for them, his scales dark with concern. We have received a distress call from the research vessel Explorer, he said. They were studying the nearby star when they were hit by an unexpected solar flare. Their ship is damaged and drifting toward the star. The main rescue fleet is deployed elsewhere. We must respond. The trainees looked at each other nervously. This was a real emergency, not a simulation. I need a team of 10 for this mission, the commander continued. The rest will remain on standby. He began to call names. Krill, with her ability to withstand extreme pressures. Drex, who could survive intense heat. Vel, whose mathematical skills could calculate complex flight paths. 7 other aliens with special abilities. Then, to everyone's surprise, he added, Collins and Reyes. Whispers spread through the group. Why choose humans for such a dangerous mission? As if hearing their thoughts, Commander Norvac said, The humans have shown exceptional crisis management and improvisation skills. Those may be needed today. The team boarded a rescue shuttle. Through the viewport, Samantha could see the damaged research vessel. It was spinning out of control and venting atmosphere. Small fires were visible along its hull. The shuttle's engineer, a crystalline alien named Plex, studied the sensor readings. The ship's reactor is unstable, he announced. It will go critical in approximately 3 hours. Can we dock with them? The commander asked. Krill, who was piloting, shook her head. Standard docking is impossible with that rotation. We need to abort and wait for a proper rescue team. Samantha studied the spinning vessel. She remembered something from her training on Earth. We don't have time to wait, she said. But I have an idea. All eyes turned to her. On Earth we have something called skydiving, jumping from high places and using the air to control our fall. We could match rotation with the vessel, then use specialized equipment to breach an entry point? The commander frowned. That is extremely dangerous. So is leaving them to die, Joseph said quietly, after a moment of thought. Commander Norvac nodded. Explain your plan in detail, Collins. Samantha outlined how they could use the shuttle's thrusters to match the spin of the damaged ship. Then a small team could space jump to the hull, cut through at a safe point, and enter. Once inside, we split up, she continued. One team goes to stabilize the reactor. Another searches for survivors. Who should lead each team? The commander asked. Joseph should lead the reactor team, Samantha said without hesitation. He has engineering experience. I'll lead the search team. The commander considered this, then nodded. Very well, begin preparations. As they prepared for the space jump, Joseph spoke privately to Samantha. This is crazy, you know that, right? Samantha nodded as she checked her suit seals. Crazy is what humans do best. Commander Norvac, called Plex from the communications station. Station control is ordering us to abort. They say this exceeds safety protocols by 87%. The commander looked at Samantha and Joseph. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Joseph stepped forward. With respect, Commander, he said. By the time a safe solution arrives, everyone on that ship will be dead. Humans have a saying, sometimes the only way out is through. After a tense silence, the commander gave his authorization. Proceed. With the human plan, the space jump was terrifying. Samantha felt like she was falling and spinning at the same time, but her training worked. She landed on the hull of the damaged ship and anchored herself with magnetic boots. Joseph and 4 other team members landed nearby. Using a laser cutter, they breached the hull and entered the ship. The interior was chaos. Emergency lights flickered. Loose equipment floated in zero gravity. The air was thin but breathable. Joseph, take your team to the reactor, Samantha ordered. The rest with me. Joseph's team moved toward the ship's core. Samantha led her team through the damaged corridors, searching for survivors. They found 3 injured crew members in the medical bay, then 5 more in a sealed laboratory. But according to the ship's roster, 9 were still missing. They might be in the observation deck, suggested Vel, who had joined Samantha's team. It has emergency seals. The path to the observation deck was blocked by debris and fire. Samantha studied the ship's layout on her wrist computer. There's another way, she said. Through the maintenance tunnels. The tunnels were narrow and dark. Samantha led the way, using her helmet light to guide them. When they reached the observation deck, they found it sealed shut. 9 crew members were inside, but the door controls were damaged. We need to create a pressure-safe transfer, Samantha said. Like an airlock. Using materials scavenged from damaged sections of the ship, Samantha built a makeshift airlock. It wasn't pretty, but it would hold air long enough to get the survivors out. Meanwhile, Joseph's team had reached the reactor core. The situation was worse than expected. The cooling systems were failing and radiation levels were rising. We need to vent the excess heat, Joseph told his team, but the main vents are damaged. One of the aliens, a tech specialist named Zorn, shook his head. Impossible. The backup systems are also offline. Joseph thought for a moment. Then we create new vents. We can use the damaged sections of the hull to our advantage. It was risky, but they had no choice. Following Joseph's plan, they reconfigured the remaining power to create controlled breaches in the damaged hull sections. These new vents would release the dangerous pressure and heat. With minutes to spare, the reactor stabilized. Joseph contacted Samantha. Reactor secure? What's your status? We found all survivors, she replied. Heading back to the shuttle now. As the rescue shuttle pulled away from the research vessel, Commander Norvac's voice came through the comms. I believe, he said slowly, we have significantly underestimated the human capacity for crisis response. Samantha looked at Joseph across the shuttle. They were both exhausted, dirty, and had minor injuries. But they had done what the aliens thought impossible. Not bad for primitives, Joseph said with a tired smile. Samantha nodded. Just wait until they see what else we can do. The rescue mission changed everything. News spread throughout the Confederation about how 2 humans had saved the research vessel when all seemed lost. Samantha and Joseph became well known across the station. Other trainees who had once avoided them now asked for their advice and friendship. 6 months after the rescue, the training program was nearing its end. Only 30 of the original 50 trainees remained. Many had quit or been sent home. But Samantha and Joseph were still there, and they were no longer in the middle of the rankings. They had risen to the top 5. Commander Norvac had changed. 2. His scales now showed the gold pattern of respect when he spoke to the humans. He had even asked Samantha to help redesign some of the training exercises to test adaptability rather than just natural abilities. One morning, Samantha was called to Dr. Voss's laboratory. When she arrived, She found not only the xenoanthropologist, but also Commander Norvac and several high-ranking Confederation officials she had never met before. "Trainee Collins," Dr. Voss said, her silver skin glowing with excitement. "These officials have come from Confederation headquarters to observe our final training exercises. They are especially interested in the human approach to problem-solving." One of the officials stepped forward. Samantha recognized him immediately. Ambassador Zixtel, the tall avian alien who had first dismissed humans as primitive back on Earth. "Human Collins," he said, his feathered crest raised high, "your performance has been done expected." Samantha stood at attention. "Thank you, Ambassador. But Joseph Reyes deserves equal recognition." "He will receive it," the ambassador assured her. "In fact, that is why we are here. The Confederation is reevaluating Earth's status based on your achievements." This was what Samantha had worked for all these months, a chance to prove that humans deserved respect and full membership in the Confederation. Yet the ambassador still seemed uncomfortable, as if admitting a mistake was physically painful. "Ambassador," Samantha said carefully, "when you first came to Earth, you said humans lacked the capacity to contribute meaningfully to the Confederation. May I ask what you think now?" The ambassador's feathers ruffled slightly. "I think I may have been hasty in my assessment. It wasn't a full apology, but it was a start." The graduation ceremony took place 2 weeks later in the station's Grand Assembly Hall. All the remaining trainees stood in formation, wearing their formal uniforms. Hundreds of Confederation officials and officers had arrived to witness this historic event. Commander Norvac took the central platform. "Today we recognize the achievements of graduation class 127, he announced. "Each trainee has shown exceptional ability and dedication." One by one, he called the graduates forward to receive their insignia. When only 5 remained, he paused. "For the first time in Confederation history, we will award the rank of elite specialist to a trainee from a probationary species." The room went completely silent. "Trainee Samantha Collins of Earth," the commander called. Samantha stepped forward, her heart pounding. This was more than she had dared to hope for. Elite Specialist was the highest possible rank for a graduate. Through exceptional performance in all areas, especially in crisis management, adaptive thinking, and leadership, Trainee Collins has earned not only this rank, but also the position of valedictorian of Class 127. A murmur of surprise ran through the crowd. Samantha could see Ambassador Zixtel in the front row, his feathered crest flattened in shock. The commander placed the gold insignia on Samantha's uniform. "The Confederation recognizes your achievement, Elite Specialist Collins. You have brought honor to your species." Samantha saluted sharply. "Thank you, Commander." After the final graduate, Joseph, who also received the Elite Specialist rank, was recognized, Samantha took the platform to give the valedictorian address. She looked out at the crowd of aliens, so different from humans in appearance, yet now familiar to her as individuals, as friends and colleagues. "When I first arrived here," she began, "many believed humans were too weak, too slow, and too limited to succeed. And in some ways they were right. Humans aren't stronger, faster, or naturally more intelligent than many species here." She paused, making eye contact with several of her alien classmates. "But our evolution on a highly unstable planet forced us to develop extraordinary adaptability. We don't specialize, we integrate. We don't perfect, we innovate. And most importantly, we never ever accept limitations as final." She looked directly at Ambassador Zixtel. "The Confederation offered Earth protection and guidance, which we gratefully accept. But in return, perhaps we can offer something equally valuable, a perspective that sees possibilities where others see only obstacles." After the ceremony, Samantha found herself surrounded by officials eager to meet her. Among them was a human she didn't recognize, a tall woman in a formal Earth government uniform. "Elite Specialist Collins," the woman said, extending her hand. "I'm Lynn Carter, Earth's new ambassador to the Confederation." Samantha shook her hand, surprised. "I didn't know Earth had an official ambassador yet," Ambassador Carter smiled. "A lot has changed since you left. Your success here opened doors. The Confederation has granted Earth full membership status, with voting rights and military participation. This was everything Samantha had worked for, yet it felt almost unreal. There's more, Ambassador Carter continued. The Confederation has established a human integration task force. They want Joseph Reyes to redesign training protocols to emphasize adaptability alongside specialized skills. And me? Samantha asked. You've been appointed Earth's first military attached to the Confederation. You'll help train the first class of human cadets who are already on their way here. Later that evening, Samantha stood at a window overlooking the gas giant Corlin. Its swirling clouds reminded her of Jupiter back home. Earth seemed both very far away and somehow closer than ever. Commander Norvac joined her at the window. His scales shimmered with the formal gold pattern of respect. We believed ourselves to be teaching you, he said quietly. Instead, you have taught us the greatest lesson of all, that true strength lies not in natural advantage, but in the willingness to transcend perceived limitations. Samantha smiled. That's a lesson all humans learn eventually, Commander. It's how we survived on Earth for so long. And now it is how you will thrive among the stars, he replied. The first human cadets arrive next week. Are you ready to become the teacher? Samantha thought about her journey from translator to trainee to elite specialist. She thought about all the aliens who had underestimated her and how she had proven them wrong through determination and creativity rather than anger or resentment. Yes, she said confidently. I'm ready. As she prepared to welcome the first human cadets to the station, Samantha Collins knew that this was just the beginning. Humans had taken their first real steps into the galaxy. They had earned respect not through strength or special abilities, but through their uniquely human talent for finding a way forward when none seemed to exist. And in diplomatic circles. Throughout the Confederation, a new saying began to circulate. Never underestimate a species that turned a temporary disadvantage into their greatest strength.